Okay, taken out of context, this next statement's not going to be very popular with a lot of people, but if you listen to the entire video, it should make a lot of sense. And I would think the vast majority of you will agree with me, although I'm sure there'll be a couple thumbs downs. But let students fail. Again, I'll say it again. Let students fail. This everyone gets a cookie mentality that we've grown into is not doing anyone any favors. And I'll lead off with this. Successful people, those people who are leaders in industry, leaders in sports, the best in their field, all of them have failed multiple times. The difference is that they're resilient. They take their failures, they grow from them, and they put them in the past, move on, and build on them. We need to teach students to be resilient. There need to be consequences for failure. Make no mistake about that. There need to be consequences for failure because in life, you're going to get knocked down again and again and again. And I don't care how much money you have, how successful you are on your career, everybody gets knocked down by life quite a few times. And what separates those people who are successful or perceived as successful is resiliency, the ability to get back up, dust yourself off, and get back to what you're doing. We need to teach coachability. We need to teach students to be receptive to constructive criticism. Now, your role in this, especially early on, if you're teaching students how to fail and be successful at it, is to be gentle with your criticism. You can, as you build that relationship, I think that's what really makes great coaches. When you look at coaches on the sidelines of a college or an NFL team, and a lot of times you'll see them shouting at a player and the players being receptive and not shutting down for the most part. That's because there's trust there, and the student or the player knows that that coach loves them and wants them to be successful, and they have that trust and relationship. But it doesn't start on day one. You can't walk over to somebody and start yelling at them. And a matter of fact, in the classroom, I don't think you should ever sit there and yell at anybody. But when you develop a relationship in athletics or something where you're on the field for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you can have that relationship to where you have that trust and you understand that after you're done communicating in a loud way. I don't personally yell, but I get that if you have that intense, strong relationship and the trust is there, that it can be effective. Again, me personally, I would never yell at a student in the classroom. I don't yell at my players, but it's about building that trust. Use failure to teach students how to adjust their strategy. So you give a test, a bunch of them fail it, and they're asking you, can I retake it? Can I retake it for full credit? No. But what you can do is go over the test, take a look and see what you missed, correct them for half credit, and turn a 50 into a 75 or something. So use that opportunity to um, teach them how to implement a new strategy. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is ask them, how did you study for that test? And then I'll, again, listen to what they said, and then I'll add some things to saying, you could have done this, you could have done that, and coach them up a little bit. Again, not intense, but give them some ideas as to things they can do. So adjust their strategy, help them adjust their strategy, help them take a look at the issue from the outside. Again, we need to teach them how to fail so they can be successful later in life. And there's so many people, and I see it a lot of times with new teachers in these chat rooms where I'm kind of perusing the chat rooms to see what's going on, get some ideas, think about things that teachers might want to hear. And a lot of them, after they get one bad evaluation, it's the end of the world. They shut down. And it could be two things. One, they're not used to being coached. And two, maybe the administrator should have talked to them in a much less confrontational way. But um, if you get one bad evaluation or something, it's not the end of the world. Use it, grow from it, dust yourself off. Take a look in the mirror. Was it accurate? Are there things I need to implement? So it applies to us as well. Going back to the lack of accountability, when we don't hold students accountable for things like getting a class on time, dress code, language, turning things on time, accepting late work for full credit instead of deducting letter grade each day it's late or something, we're setting them up for failure later in life because there are things that you can't come back from. You break a law, you do the consequences. You mouth off to your boss, you get fired. There need to be consequences. So it's important that we teach students about consequences and that we, again, if a student mouths off to you, there should be a severe consequence. Certainly a referral or something, and maybe a phone call home. There need to be consequences so they understand they can't do that to a cop, they can't do it to their boss, and follow up on that. And maybe the initial one, you pull them aside and say, look, the next time this happens, it's going to be the following consequences. That's kind of what I do. I'll pull somebody aside and say, look, you don't know me. But from here on out, if you use that tone of voice or you mouth off again, there will be consequences. And again, depending on the severity of it, will depend on what the consequence is. We've got to teach these students a growth mindset, which is that it's okay to fail, implement strategies to correct whatever it is that needs to be done to be successful, and that we need to grow. And as you grow and try new things, you're going to fail again and again and again. We need to teach failure. Focus on goals, focus on improvement, focus on the process. I probably 5 or 6 times a year, I will talk to the students that the process is much more important than the final result. They're so focused on the grade and so focused on college and consequences of getting a bad grade that they'll sell themselves short as far as character. So you've got to teach them that the process, if you follow the process, it will lead to great results. But focus on the process and the growth mindset. So teach them to be resilient, coachable, focus on the process, and you'll have a successful school year. But it's important that we dole out consequences because if we don't dole out consequences later on in life, it will hurt them a lot more than have a bad test grade in our classroom. Have a great school year. Keep being heroes. Colster out.